Hello, welcome to Practically Magick. You're here for another week of magic. I'm Courtney Pearl, and
I'm Jaime Osbahr.
we are here at Rising Moon Minerals to talk to you today. It is well into October now, so actually it's kind of a warm day. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, it's warm in here because the heater was left on. So the heater is now off because it was too warm.
It's like the past couple of weeks come here, I'm like,
cold.
bundle up, get your sweaters out. But I got in here today, and I was like, I feel good.
I've been telling everybody to leave the heater on, but leaving the heater on at 71 is probably a little much for this space. So I don't know. I
Come in and go,
I know it's a little warm.
So. Sweltering. The crystals like it.
Yes. Well, yesterday when I came in, the crystals were like frozen almost, some of them.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's that time of year where it's hard to find that happy medium of the temperature overnight. So we're working on it. We're
learning. Being a glass house as it is, I'm sure that there's a little. I like your Halloween decor.
Yes,
at the moment, it's very cute. So come stop in and check it out. Let's pull a card. So I have brought with me today the Everyday Witch because of the season, and I love this deck because it's kind of playful. It's like little cartoon illustrated witches and little black cats and that kind of thing.
A broom. Yeah.
Little brooms, little besoms. Okay. I did not pull a card ahead of time. So obviously here we are. We're just going to be surprised with whatever we get. Oh my God.
Five of Pentacles.
It is the Five of Pentacles. Anybody listening knows anything about tarot, you're going, oh. Okay. So this feels very apt. I'm going to show the image so that you can just kind of see in this deck what it looks like. In the traditional tarot and the Rider-Waite-Smith, it's this vibe of like a family out in the cold. They're right in front of like a window of a church, or you kind of see the glow of the church, but they're wrapped up in kind of rags, and they're, looking kind of haggard, looking kind of poor and downtrodden. Five is notorious for being the card of the number of like obstacles. It's kind of the point in the journey where everything feels a little hopeless. There's despair. There's just this feeling like, it's so interesting. So I was doing my TikTok live on Monday evenings, like I do on TikTok. Just check it out. I pulled this card probably two or three times yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm feeling like,
there's a message coming through, right? What's the message?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the conversation of people were having in the Daybreak Network, and I feel like I've kind of got some one-on-ones with people in the community lately, and everyone's kind of feeling this scarcity. Everyone's feeling like, I know I'm maybe just peeking out of it, but I was in a space of like, I'm ready to just like quit all of this and go get a job and just be done. I'm so done. I'm just so done.
I'm just over it.
Yeah. Just over it. And, not that doing that would be a bad thing, like just to go and like get a reset and, I don't know, make some steady money for once would be lovely. But just this feeling of like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. I don't even know what I'm doing. We're kind of just in this, I think, energetic lull. Yeah. Like a dip.
Yeah.
Where we're just like wallowing a bit. I know when I get that way, I always feel like I do need to wallow in it for just a bit, because I can't just talk myself out of it or snap myself out of it. I do kind of wallow in the mud, as it were. Yeah. I'm like, nothing ever works for me. No one loves me. I'm blah, blah. And you're wallowing, and then you go, all right.
But that's not true.
But I know that's not true. And that's just how I feel in the moment. And this is just a dip in the cycle. This is just the wheel of the fortune that turns and turns. Yeah.
I've definitely been feeling it. That exact, I don't know. Do I just shut everything down? And like I even said to my husband, I was like, if I were to just like sell off all the crystals that we have, it'd probably take a while because we have a lot. Just sell it all off, end the lease, and just call it quits. And he was like, why would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the question that ultimately comes up when you're like, this is my dream.
Yeah. And
This is what
I
I
love being
wanted.
here. And when I'm here, and it's like, I don't work here on the weekends. So when I'm not here for those 2 or 3 days, then I start to kind of get into that mindset of, well, maybe it's not what I want to do. And maybe I need to look at doing something else. And maybe I just want to be a stay-at-home dog mom. And all the thoughts, right? All of the fear, all of the
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, all of the, is this worth all the energy that I'm putting into it?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I just call it quits? And it's really not that simple. Like, to break down, especially for me, I'm not sure what it looks like for you, but for me to break down and try and sell everything that I have,
Yeah,
that would take forever.
I know.
It would take forever. And we would probably end up losing money on it and all the things. But really, what it
Yeah.
comes down to is that's not what I want. That's what
Yeah.
fear tells me I want.
Yeah.
So I try not to listen to, I try not to get too deep into it, but I do wallow in it a little bit. I think about it and I'm like, well, what does that look like? And how does that feel? And I cry and I throw a fit and I do all the things. And then
Rant and rave.
yeah. And then I
Yeah.
come back and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what I want. But it's kind of where we are right now. And there's a lot of things going on that are contributing and amplifying those feelings in and around us, right? The government shut down, everybody kind of
Mm-hmm.
pulls back
Yeah.
and they stop spending and they only buy the things that they absolutely need. So businesses like ours
Yeah.
tend to suffer more.
Yeah. They don't think that they need it. And um, I would beg to differ, but
Right.
that's just me. But yeah, I think that even, looking at everybody right now, just scrambling to figure out how to survive through an economic rough patch. Hope that's all it is. So yeah, luxuries tend to, or what people perceive as luxuries, self-care. It's
Right.
usually like the first thing to go,
Hmm.
or art, or things that are in the realm of art and beauty. They just tend to go, okay, well, that's not going to feed us, so we're going to cut back. And so that mindset of scarcity comes into play for everybody. We were all like kind of feeling it. And the awakened ones, I mean, a lot of the mystics are saying this is going to push us into an era, or a like um the astrology of it is kind of like the age of Aquarius, or the next thing, whatever that age is. I'm not the astrologer. Talk to Cambria. That's who knows what age we're in. But it opens people up to going, I'm going to be forced to look at things a completely different way. Um, and that actually, because I taught a class once on how emotional intelligence is a bridge of the gap between all of those Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We were taught in education that like the very base level of needs is just your food, your water, your shelter. Like if those needs aren't met, you can't ascend to another level of needing and wanting something like arts and literature, and going into the higher realms, which is the top tier, self-actualization, like spiritual things. People don't even think about that when they're wondering where they're going to get their next meal. So there's something that's hierarchy of needs. But I was proposing in one of my workshops that at every stage that there is a need for emotional intelligence, there is a need for emotional safety, so that can't be ignored, even at the most base level of like, I've got nothing and I'm trying to survive, and
Right.
that it kind of connects all of those levels together. So while people think they don't need it, that's why I beg to differ. I
Yeah,
think you do.
for sure. You still have to take care of yourself and not just your basic needs of food, water, shelter. It's also an emotional need that needs to be met of, now I'm depriving myself of whatever it is that I feel like I need to also be emotionally safe. So it's really easy to go, oh well, that's not important right now. I'll focus on that later. I'll do that later when everything settles down.
Yeah.
right? When I have
And
the
then you keep
money
yourself
or
in stress.
and then you're in that cycle of only meeting your basic needs, but then going, I feel like something's missing. I feel like something's lacking. I feel like I need more of something. And it's not, and then you get in that mindset of, well, wanting more means I'm being selfish and I'm not because I can't meet my basic needs, then I shouldn't be focusing so much on it's a cycle. And I've been in it and I've done it and
Mm-hmm.
it's it's valid, right?
Yeah.
It's something that I think we all go through. But being able to step back from that and go, I'm really not in as much scarcity as I think I am.
Yeah.
And I can take this and use this to actually build myself up and feel better.
Yeah. For me, it's what usually stops me out of it is there won't come any good, any steps forward or any movement towards what I'm looking for, what I want in that state. Like in the state of fear, for example. So even when I haven't hit that despair stage of, I'm just going to quit.
Just
I'm
done.
done, and like really feeling kind of like this is never going to go anywhere, all those doubts and things. But even before I reach that, there's this like, oh my gosh, clearly things aren't working. I'm not getting what I need out of this, or I'm not, it's not just getting what I need. It's not moving in the direction I foresee it and what I would like it to.
Right.
Because I'm not like going through in healing work going like, I need. It's more like, here's what I'd like this to look like. Here's what I would like my life and my help to look like. This is what I'd reach clients and I'd be doing this work full time. I'd be helping people. So when that's not happening and I start to go like, what am I even doing?
What's the
Why am I
point?
doing this? I tend to go into a state of what can I control here? And so it goes to doing more. Then I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, just doing everything that I think could maybe get me there.
Right.
Like, I just need to be more in everyone's face. Like, I just need to be out there. I just need to be like meeting everybody. I'm going to do and I'll go to all the networking groups and I'm going to get on social media and I'm going to post every 5 hours. Not really, but because I think that will get me where I want to be. So that's the stage that comes before. And what happens is I'm putting so much energy, so much anxious, desperate energy into what I'm doing. And that's not going to create abundance. That's not going to get me anywhere either.
No,
Then
you're
I
in
feel
the cycle.
resentful. Yeah. Because then I'm resentful that I have worked so hard at this and it brought me nothing. It's brought me nowhere. And then I'm like, I'm just going to quit. I'm done. Right. So it all kind of like it's spurred on by the fear and the lower vibration of like, I'm not going to get what I want out of this. It's not going to work. I'm not going to have what I want. And so that's our topic today. We're talking about fear because it's Halloween. And sometimes fear doesn't look like spooky, spooky ghosts. Sometimes it looks like the world is out to get you. Bad thoughts, anxiety,
It's
things
just
like
cycles. Getting into those thought processes that I've over time through therapy and things have learned how it doesn't serve anything. So what I've done differently more recently is given those thoughts, that pattern, the space that it needs,
that. Mm-hmm.
but not living in it.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so easy to get dragged down into that and then to try to drag others down into it. And so now I'm seeing like when I would start talking to my husband and be like, all of these things are so terrible and I'm such a bad person and I don't deserve to be happy and I don't deserve all of these things and blah, blah, blah. I was trying to drag him into that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Where are you? You know what I mean? Like obviously physically I'm right here in front of you, but emotionally I'm on another plane.
Yeah.
And I'm gone and I'm lost in this thought process of how awful everything is. So rather than allowing that to take control and drag me, it's like, okay, let's sit here for a second. Let's really
Yeah.
think about where we are, what's happening, why we feel this way,
Oh my God.
and then go, now what do I need to
Yeah.
come out of that? And it's not easy. Like talking about it and saying these words out loud makes it sound so easy, but it's really, really difficult to get to that point of your life where you can give that the space that it needs, and then to go.
About living it.
And it's not always like, okay, now I'm all better. Now I'm just going to go about life like nothing ever happened. For me, over the weekend, what that looked like was I'm staying in bed. Saturday, I stayed in bed and I did not make myself feel guilty. I didn't a little bit. Yeah. I was kind of like, you have
You're just like me.
piles.
I can't do it either. I'm like, this is going to be so
Ugh.
nice. And then by like the second hour, I'm like,
Well, my body forced me because I started to feel really physically ill. And I was like, something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And the fear came in like, oh my gosh, I'm going to end up in the hospital. I'm going to need surgery or something. Like that started happening. And I was like, how about I just,
I know.
take care of myself for the day? And that wasn't easy because it kept coming to my mind. And I have these boxes of crystals that I got in Denver. And I have all of these things that need to be done. And we're not making a lot of sales this month. And I have bills to pay. And all these things were just like swirling around me. And I was like, yep, I hear you. I see you. I can't do anything about it right now. My body physically needs rest. So yeah, I stayed in
Yep.
bed and
Your body will force you if you don't listen.
yeah.
That's
And that's what I wanted to avoid was the whole, I didn't want to end up really sick.
Yeah.
Right, in the hospital or on medication and then not being able to come to the shop and not being able to just do daily functions.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened, I cried and I got really frustrated. And then I just said, I just kind of gave the power to where it needed to be. And I said, this is not what I was planning on doing with my day. I have a ton of stuff to do,
Yeah.
but this is what we're going to do. And I
Oh
felt
my
so much
gosh.
better. I felt so much better. And Sunday came around and I woke up and I started just putting all the decorations in my car. And my husband came out and he was like, wait, what's going on? And it's like, well, we're going to go to the shop and we're going to decorate the shop today. I was like, okay, can we get some breakfast? I was
She's
like, yeah,
ready to go.
I have it all planned out. We're going to get coffee, breakfast, and then we're going to go decorate the shop. And then we're going to do our Costco trip. And then we're going to come home and we're going to do our Sunday thing. And
Oh my gosh, I
we did
love
it.
that. That sounds like a perfect day.
It worked out really well. But I
love that.
needed that day. Saturday, I took that day.
Yep.
And
Look how much more productive too because of taking that day. I mean,
Yes.
that's what we forget is that like sometimes the rest, even the moments of like, okay, I'm like, I have too many things firing at once.
Yes.
There's this show that my husband and I like to watch, Clarkson Farms. It's Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear in the UK. He's a car guy and a comedian. I mean, he's like a funny, witty guy. So it's fun to watch him. But he decided after retiring from that show, they did that show for like decades. And he's bought a farm and he doesn't know anything about farming at all. So it's kind of him blundering around, like trying to like do this farm. And he's a car guy. So he's like, it's fun to watch him just like decide he's going to get a Lamborghini tractor. And the farmhand that he's hired to manage the farm is like, are you stupid? Like it's so fun to watch. But he has infinite money, so he can just like dig around, right? But it's funny to watch him because he has all the same problems that business owners have. Like just one thing after another goes wrong. He decides in the last season he wants to buy a tavern and have like farm to table meals, like a chef that cooks up what they have to offer from the local farms. And yeah, so he's decided he wants to buy an old pub and refurbish it and renovate it. And of course he's like, oh, it only costs this many hundred of pounds and I'm only in it this much and blah, blah, blah. And then of course, construction and whatnot being what it is, they come and they're like, actually,
It's quite a bit more.
there's not enough power in the whole village to give you what you're trying to do. Or like, it's an old English village. Like it's a small out in the country place. So you watch him just go through one problem after another, and he's either at the farm harvesting stuff or he's at the tavern trying to get it all, making decisions and trying to like put out fires. And at one point in the series, this is the reason I bring it up, he has so many problems. They're like, there's no way we're going to open this restaurant on the day that you want to open it, the weekend you want to open it. Like, we have this going wrong and this going wrong. We have no space. We have nothing to where to put all this stuff you want to sell from the farms. And so he goes out and you just see him sitting like in a gazebo on the property, having a beer or something. And he's just sitting there. And you're like, no way. If I was that busy and had that many stuff going on, I'd find time to go sit. But he does. He goes out and he just sits. And he's like, as I'm sitting there in stillness and in nothing happening, all of a sudden it comes to me. I know exactly what to do. And he has this epiphany and he like solves a bunch of problems all at once. And it reminded me, and I'm like, that's what I keep forgetting. I teach this to people, friends. I teach this to people and I don't do it. I don't do it enough. So like when you feel like you've got to frantically be running around, making everything happen and fixing all the problems, sometimes it is just like, give yourself a day. Like maybe don't do anything. Because if you were to just come into a space of creative boredom almost, you get to go, oh, that's what we need. The creative ideas just start flowing and you open the channels for that to come in so that you can be like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I know exactly how to solve this. And then off you go, right?
Right.
And sometimes it is just like a self-care. Like just take that moment to self.
Right. Because if you never stop, if you never slow down, if you never reflect, you never like try to figure out, oh my gosh, all of these things are happening right now. And it might not all be something that's wrong. It might be this is happening, that's happening, and all of it's kind of stacking on top of it. If you don't ever just sit down and kind of lay those things out and give them space, they just continue to pile up and pile up and pile up until you break.
Yeah.
And it could be an emotional breakdown. It could be a physical breakdown. It could be
financial.
Right. It could look a lot like all the things that we're talking about. So
all the fears that you actually have,
they actually come they come true because you don't give yourself,
you bring them upon yourself,
the space, and you don't give them the space to settle. You have to kind of just let the dust settle a little bit and go, okay, this works, this doesn't work, this works, that doesn't work, and kind of put it all together. And the way that we're describing it sounds easy, right? He was just sitting there for however long, and all of a sudden he was like, boom, I'm fixing all of my problems. It's kind of a process of whatever it is that comes to your mind at that moment. For me, it was, I wanted to put decorations up in the shop. It's, it's well into October, as you said, and I love Halloween. I love it. Why is my shop not decorated?
Yeah.
So how about we take, the time that we need to do that and get it done. And then we move on to the next thing. It's like, take it one thing at a time, focus on one thing at a time. Because if you're focusing on everything all at once, nothing gets done. And then you get overwhelmed and stressed and anxious and fearful and all the things, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me.
Give him a little bed right
support.
there.
He
can't help himself. When we start setting up to record, he's like, all right, let me get into my chair.
I'm getting in my lap.
What I keep thinking of, I don't know, maybe I just see things in like the TV shows and movies that I watch because I love TV shows and movies. But that's kind of what comes through when I think of imagery and stuff. And it's reminding me of Frozen. I remember when the movie Frozen came out, I loved it so much. I had no kids yet. I had like my friends were having their little kids and, my coworkers and their kids. I forced all my coworkers and all the teachers I was teaching with to go to the movie theater after work and watch and see it with me. It was my second time because I was like, this movie's incredible. You guys have to see it. But the reason I love that movie, and I still do, I have a picture of Elsa in my healing room. She's letting it go, right? I love that movie so much because it is that whole dynamic of fear versus love. It feels like Elsa does not know any other way to handle what's going on, to control her powers, she just gets into fear. And the whole time she's like, which, I mean, the theories that you find online, people talking about how, well, her parents were the problem. And I'm like, I agree.
Yes.
With love, with the intention of loving their daughter,
And
they actually, and protecting her, they inadvertently caused her to be very fearful and anxious and told her, like, cover it up, don't let it go, conceal, don't feel.
Yeah.
And you're like, no,
No, stop.
She got so fearful of what releasing her powers or being, being able to tap into her powers would do to her, what the public would do to her, that she could not control those powers. Like she didn't have.
Well, she never took the opportunity to learn what that looked like.
Yeah.
She was just like, push it away, push it away, push
I
it
gotta
away.
keep this down, keep this,
right.
keep it
We have to
concealed,
pretend like
it...
it's not there. We have to protect. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. And fear, all of that fear was like push, push, push.
The trauma of harming her sister from, childhood, again, inner child healing, guys, that would like solidify a belief in her that what I do is harmful and it's dangerous and I can't expose that. The more she tried to control it, the more she couldn't control it. And it became something that she isolated her from everyone. It caused her to live in this space of like, well, then I can't be in public. I can't be around people. And I'm not worthy of the family and love and togetherness that she'd like to have. That's a perfect example to me of like the healing work that I love to do is tap into, where did that belief start? Why did you start to believe that your powers were dangerous or that you couldn't? And then the troll giving her the prophecy that fear will ultimately destroy. She and her parents took that to mean like, oh, you got to control this, instead of fear is what will be your downfall. I mean, he was pretty clear, but it was taken in the wrong context.
Right.
And therefore she spends her life in fear. But fear versus love, when she finally realizes that when she engages in love, her powers are absolutely controllable. Like they do what she intends for it to do. And I keep going back to that with myself when I get into those cycles, is the more I'm in fear of what I want to happen and it's not happening and I have to control what's happening and I have to like direct that, the less it happens, the more I have to fear, the more anxiety-ridden things that come up. So if I was to just move into a space where I'm like, everything's going to work out for me, and then it does. And I've totally seen that. That's the thing. You can have absolute proof. Like you can move into that and go, I figured it out. I've got the keys. And still resort to patterns that you've done.
The conditioning that you have. And like, I don't know if you do this, but, and this is part of my vicious thought process that I'm unraveling and learning to work through is, well, that works for other people. That's not going to work for me. I don't deserve that. I have to work harder to get that result. Like something along those lines is where my thought process starts to go of, well, that worked out so well for them. Yeah. Why doesn't it work that way for me? Like, and then I start to think that too of my thought process more recently. And I talk about this, and it's very recently. This is like within the last month or so that I can actually step back and go, okay, all of that is valid and it could possibly happen. Do I want that to happen? No, I don't. I really don't. I really don't want all of that negative and awful thought thinking. I don't want that to happen. So what can I do? I can step back and I can give that the space that it's demanding. And I can say, cool, I don't like that. And then I can step into, and it's not even like, oh, all these beautiful, wonderful things are going to happen now. It's like, I'm going to get up, I'm going to get ready, I'm going to go to the shop, and something amazing is going to happen to me today. Yeah. And whether it does or not is whatever is meant to be. But being able to do that for myself is so huge. It's huge for me.
Isn't that amazing?
And if I can just put this message out there to other people that are struggling, that have been conditioned to think you're not worthy, you're not good enough, nothing good is ever going to happen. You get into those thought processes, we're all worthy.
Yeah.
Good things are going to happen to all of us.
Just for existing, not what you do, what you accomplish, what you
No,
get,
not how much money
just
you have,
as
none of
a
that. It's
being.
just as a human being on this earth, we deserve and need to be able to learn to welcome in the good things that are there for us, because we're unintentionally blocking so much of that stuff
I know.
that
Isn't it
if
incredible?
you can just sit back, and it takes 30 seconds to go, I see that, I hear that, I feel that, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And then to step over here and go, I see, I feel, I hear, I want this.
Yeah.
And then just trust it.
You know what I love about that? It's falling just so into place with some of the theories of like inner family systems in therapy, or from my perspective, it's like a shadow work, which is basically the idea that you are the head of the table of your own parts, all of these parts of you. So there is that fearful part. And
Always, yeah.
that feels like a shadow self that you're talking about. It's almost like you're having a conversation with them. You're like, I hear you. Your message to me is heard. Like the fear is coming up. That's not something you're just going to like push down and be like, nope, not today, Satan. You can be like, I hear you. And you're giving me all this information. Like this could happen and this could happen and this could happen. But you, the real capital S self, or higher self, as it's sometimes called, is the one who gets to say, thank you for your presentation, employee, but I am the CEO of this conference table and I will make the decision now on what we do next.
Yes.
And then you're saying, today, we're going to go to the shop and it's going to be an amazing day.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for all the, thanks for your PowerPoint on fear. Check, got that. Now I can go forward with my true higher self in charge, not letting that part run the show.
Right. But also
Right.
not taking it to the level of I expect this to happen to me today. It's more of
Yeah.
just like I just know whatever that looks like, whether that means I spend my time here in the shop organizing, cleaning and resetting the energy,
Yeah.
or if that means
Oh,
a customer
totally.
comes in, we have a beautiful interaction, whatever that looks like is what it's going to be. And it always works out the way that it's meant to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those words, I swear, are like they're thrown around a lot, and sometimes they land and sometimes they just still float around, right? They're valid and
It's a spell,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. And I like that you look at it that way, because
Word.
I don't. But I'm starting to look at it as these messages are out there,
Yeah.
and whether you let them land and resonate and define how you move forward is up to you. And you can go, oh, that's a great message. Doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it works for other people, but it doesn't work for me. So I'm just going to continue over here in my fear pattern until something happens and those words go boom. They just hit you right in the face and you go,
Yeah.
oh, is that what that meant?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It hit me when I first heard the phrase, everything will work out in the end. If it hasn't worked out, it's not the end.
oh yeah.
That when I first heard that, it was from the Very Exotic Marigold Hotel movie. I'm just into the movies and shows today, friends. I don't know what it is. They're all popping and firing. But I heard that when in that movie and I went, that is so cool. What a great way to get through a really hard time is to just think to yourself, it all works out in the end. The reason it hasn't worked out right now is because this isn't the end.
Yeah, you need to
There's more story to
work
tell
through
here.
it, right?
Oh, that's powerful.
It is powerful. Words are powerful. And if you let them, right? If you listen and you allow yourself to believe that that's possible for you. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to look at somebody that's struggling with something and say, oh, don't worry, it'll all work out in the end. If it hasn't worked out, then it's not the end. But wherever they are in their thought pattern, their process, their journey, That's either going to land or it's going to blow right over.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on their neural pathways and how that connects with what they are willing to rewrite and accept, right? Because their neural pathways might be like, nope, I need to stress out right now.
Right.
That's where I'm at.
Right.
So words like that won't help because they'll be stuck in, this is what I have to do to cope with what's hard right now.
Right.
And you're challenging that.
Yeah. You're trying
So
to throw some words at me that are supposed to just fix everything magically. And I've been there. I've thought that, and people, you know, come along and they say words, or I read words or whatever, and I'm like, cool, not for me. Move on.
Right.
Move on. Feed me more fear. Feed me more fear. Feed me more of this negative energy, because that's where I am. That's where I'm vibrating. And until I decide I don't want to be there anymore, and I give it the space, because it is important. It's important to say, I hear you, I feel you, I recognize the information that you're giving to me, but it's only information. It's not reality. It's not true unless I want it to be true.
Yeah.
Because then you can take that path and you can make it true. And then you can continue to live in that why me, woe is me, all the world sucks. Or you can go, I hear you, I feel you. I'm going to set you over here.
Yeah.
And like a baby, you can cry and you can throw your fit and you can try to.
Sometimes that is exactly what it is.
It is. That's kind of
baby.
in my mind how I see it. I'm just going to set you over here. I'm going to let you do your thing. And I'm going to say, I hear you. Cool. I'm going to focus my energy over here where I feel like I can be more productive and actually get where I want to be.
Yeah.
And once you figure that out, it makes things easier. It's still something you have to very much focus on, and you have to very much be in that mindset. But it's practice. It
is. Yeah, because writing a new neural pathway or a new way of coping with something that you know, previously always did it this way. That's what came up a lot when I saw this card, was I'm like, there are ways that you do to cope with something right now this week. Might be, because that's the other card that came up, was the Devil card. And this was a card reading for this week. So it was, you know, identifying what is the way that you always tend to cope with something when things are hard. This is the week to be aware of that. To be aware of, like, does that work? And what am I hoping to get doing that? Because I am benefiting somehow, or I think I am, or I think I will. So I keep going back to that. So it's just being aware of that and then being like, if that's not how I want to deal with it anymore, I'm going to have to rewrite a new neural pathway. I'm going to have to go, here's another, and that's where those creative ideas come from, is like, oh, I don't have to do it this way. Here's another way that I can handle it. And if I do it that way, the more I do it that way, the more I create this new path, this new brain connection, this new highway that's a little faster and easier and better. And I won't be stuck in the same path in the same way that I've always done things. But I want to go back to what you said earlier, because I liked this, when talking to your husband and you said that you like step out of it. It made me realize that I did an episode about living delusionally, living a delusional life. Because I do feel like there is something to it. And I'm not saying like everybody should just go around being like, I'm disassociating completely all the time, which is another coping strategy. But I do feel like if you can, in your own mind, create your own reality, if you can choose that, and that's powerful, just identifying that, like, I'm choosing the reality of fear and anxiety right now. I'm choosing that reality when I could, like, essentially step out of it and go, I'm going to choose.
There's a better way.
There's a better way. Like, what if none of that was true? Because a lot of it isn't anyway. I mean, sales are low or clients aren't booking. You're a little low on money right now. Funds are scarce. That might be a reality. That might be true. But the reality that that's going to continue and I am poor and destitute and I'm never going to come out of it again, that's not reality. So if you're going to live in a reality you choose anyway, why not create a reality where you're like, my life is great. Money is coming at me and I'm going to go to the shop and decorate the Halloween decorations and life is good, you know, and you get to just kind of live in a little bit of a delusion to step out of it. Why not?
All right, dude. Yeah, it's you have the
It's a challenge.
choice. And I think for a lot of people,
Yeah.
they don't realize because we're so conditioned. There are people that have been conditioned to live in that everything is great,
Mhm.
everything is wonderful. I have this wonderful life. Yeah, bad things are happening, but I live here.
Yeah.
There are people that are conditioned that way, and it blows my mind because I don't understand it. I'm starting to learn to allow myself to have those thoughts and to kind of live there temporarily, but I'm always brought to how I was conditioned and
Mhm.
my thought processes. So and I think people that live there look at people like me and go, "What are you
Ugh.
doing?
Yeah.
Why do you choose that? Why are you doing this?" And it's like,
Pessimism versus like
optimism.
optimism. Yeah.
It's all about conditioning. It's all about how were you taught to handle stressful and hard
Yeah.
times? How were you taught to handle good and happy times?
Yeah.
Right? Because for me, good and happy times were like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I love this. It's not going to last forever. I have to enjoy it while it's here.
Oh, I mean, that's not
But
terrible,
but it
but
was
yeah.
also like, when is
When is the ball gonna drop?
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
When is the negative gonna take all of this away and then I
Yeah.
live back in there again,
Yeah.
right? So
Oh,
allowing ourselves to
so
understand
true.
that there are the ups and downs, ebbs and flows of life, and validating and giving space for both is
Mm.
so powerful just for you as a human being, as an individual, as someone who's on a healing journey,
Yeah.
allowing both to exist. The duplicity of life, the yin, the yang, the dark, the light, the shadow, the light, the all of that.
Yeah.
It can coexist and you can still be
Coexist
happy.
and all be a beautiful thing. Which actually brings me to kind of the topic of Halloween being I'm often fascinated by Halloween culturally and like what is it that makes people just really love the scary, the fear and like I mean, clearly there are plenty of people who are like, nope, not for me. I'll never go into a haunted house. I'll never do all that. I'm not even like super into haunted houses. Like, I don't know if I love like walking through and feeling that anxiety of like someone's gonna jump out at me and stuff. I don't know if I love that, but I do love like a good, well done horror movie. If I
Mhm.
feel like, oh, they did that really well, or I
Yeah.
love how they really set the tone and they really like created this creepiness, and we just it's almost like we give ourselves permission to go into the darkest, fearful parts of ourselves
Yeah.
and relish in it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
But then also
see
go, well,
beauty
that's
in
not
it.
reality,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Maybe it helps. Maybe it helps to be like, I love that because it's not real so that I can go into my real life and be like, hey, isn't it great that I don't have to be chased by a chainsaw murderer or, whatever. But I just am always fascinated about how Halloween and maybe Samhain, we're going to talk about Samhain next week, but it almost creates this doorway or this little opening into um, let your wildest, most, I don't know, dark, maybe a little sexy. That's why everybody likes their sexy costumes. You're going to be a sexy nurse or a sexy cat or something for Halloween. I just think it opens this door and says, here's permission. What part of you do you hide the rest of the year? And you're going to let loose a little bit right now. And I kind of love that.
Yeah.
I told my art students for the month of October, I said, you know what we're going to do this month? We're going to have a little challenge. Each of you is going to pick an image that you're going to paint or draw or whatever medium you want to do it in. But I want you to challenge yourself to make the creepiest or scariest image you can think of. Like really go at it, go for it. I was thinking of like Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. She wrote it in kind of a competition with her husband and friend. They were like, let's all go write a really scary story and see what we come up with. And she ended up writing Frankenstein. So I kind of like took that as inspiration, but I said, like, dig in, like really take some terror or fear you have inside you and what would that look like on an image. man, did my students deliver.
Oh.
They're not quite done with them yet, but I've been posting on my social media pictures as they've been going along. So if you want to see what they've come up with, one of them in particular, I mean, they're all a little just like a little creepy and a little like, oh, I just love what they've come up with. One of them could be absolutely straight from your nightmares. Just like, and this was a student that I really have had a hard time getting her to get inspired. And I'm like, what do you want to paint? What do you want to draw? Let's pick a project. And she's been kind of like, I don't know, just kind of, she'll start something, but she doesn't want to finish it. So it's been kind of, encouraging her. This project has opened something up in her where she's just like, ooh, and then I'm going to use red here and I'm going to, highlight the eyes and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, ooh, go for it. I am all about it. I don't know how their parents are going to feel when this is done. I'm like, this is awesome. This is so what I want. So I just think that it's worth, bringing up. What do you think is your thing that it brings up? Like, this is my terrifying thing. This is the thing that I just can't tolerate. It's so terrifying to me. Either like,
it's interesting because as you say that, the word that comes to my mind is death.
Mm.
So I know a lot of people fear death. They fear the thought of death. They fear seeing death, all of those things. I fear that. Specifically, I fear someone coming into my home while I'm sleeping and killing me. Like,
okay.
that's my biggest fear. Like, if I really break it down and I say that's the one thing that I would never want to happen to me.
Yeah.
And I would like just think of how much fear would be in your body.
Violation.
The violation of your vulnerability, your home, your bed, the time that you're supposed to be the safest. I think that's where it like really hits me.
That's very telling. I mean, that's a really good awareness to be like, if that's the thing that terrifies me the most, that means like you really value your safe space. Which, I mean,
who doesn't?
Who doesn't? But but to have that be like, that's my one thing. Because I think for me, it's always been more energetic violations than personal. I don't worry. Maybe my husband would probably say I don't worry enough about, he's like, is your door locked? Did you close the window? Like he's always like checking those things, which maybe that's why I don't worry about it so much because I'm like, he's got it.
Yeah.
But I don't like sit and stew over like worrying about, oh my gosh, if somebody like came into my home, and that doesn't get me as much in a fearful state. And even like horror movies, if I'm watching a horror movie about somebody who comes into a house or it's like the Scream movies or something, the stabber guy, or like, what are the Halloween movies or Jason? Yeah. They
Myers.
Don't scare me that much. Like, I'm just like,
they're cheesy.
All right, this is entertaining or whatever, but I'm not walking away from it like, if that ever happened to me, oh, now I can't stop thinking about it. Like, for me, the things that scare me are energetic, either entities or, and I'm not even saying I fully believe in like demons or I fully believe in possession or anything like that, but those are the things, that idea encroaches on my comfort more than anything.
Yeah. I feel that too. Like I like watching those violent stabber movies. Not so much now, but like way back in the day, right? Like when they were good.
Yeah.
They don't really make those so much anymore.
Yeah.
But
maybe that's because people are like, meh.
They're more psychological thrillers now, right? Where they're kind of messing with your head and throwing in the demons and the possessions and outward like things that there's no way, like if someone physically came at you, you could physically try to fight them off, right?
Yeah.
But if you've got a demon,
I guess that's why it doesn't bother me as much. I probably couldn't fight them off, honestly.
But you could try, right?
But I could try. It feels like I have more control over that.
Right.
Like I lock my doors and I do this and I do that. It feels like I have some control over that. Whereas energetically, it feels like I have less.
What do you do? There are things you can do, obviously. You can
I do. I believe that there are things you can do. So I don't feel
It feels
vulnerable.
more vulnerable in that way,
Yeah.
where someone could, or an entity or a spirit or whatever, could sneak up on you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And wreak havoc on you.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know, you have some guy coming at you with a chainsaw. What do? You turn and run
Yeah.
in the movies. And like, this is what happens to me in my dreams. What happens when you try to run? You fall.
I know.
You run really
You're like,
slowly.
they're coming at me.
But that physical
Oh,
attack,
yeah.
where like, yeah, does it scare you as much as that energetic
Mm,
or emotional attack? So it's interesting when you think about it that
yeah.
way.
I think that's why it affects people more because I think they feel like, oh my gosh, I have no control over this. I could be possessed by a demon or I could. And I think it's interesting. So I'm going to plug here just for a second that we've been doing the Ghost Movie Project where we break down ghost movies. Blaine and I are doing that. And so it's here on this channel. You can check out those. That was a blast because it made me think about these movies about like, why does this scare people? What is it that about this? And I often came up with that death being the primary fear, like death can get you. So we talked about the movie The Monkey, that one's come out, that's on Hulu, and we broke that one down. But it's a little comedic, it's kind of a comedy horror because you're going through it, you're like, it's almost hilarious or funny the way people die. And it's these like really dramatic, um, it's almost like writers sat down and went, what's the funniest, weirdest, and most crazy way you could die? And then they just like wrote out these amazing scenes where someone like falls into a hornet's nest and then it lights on fire and then they're running, just like one thing after another. But I'm like, interesting in that movie because it feels like death is just about to happen the whole time. There's this
God.
little bit of anxiety through the whole movie where it's like, this person's going to die right now. I just don't know how or what or when, but it almost like taps in or pokes at that part of us that's like, death could happen
At any
at
moment.
any moment. And I think I can understand that. Although I have a really comfortable kind of relationship with death where I'm like, it is what it is, and I've come to that space, but I have always had this little bit of uncomfortableness with something like an aneurysm or like things where there's no warning and you're just drop dead like that. And just like, it gets my heart racing because I'm like, that could just happen
right
at any time.
I would prefer that.
Well,
I
definitely
would
worse ways
prefer
to go.
that, but yeah, I mean, you hear the stories and it brings to the surface all of those things of, oh my gosh, well, could that happen to me?
Yeah,
What can I do to prevent that from happening to me? And really, honestly, there's not a whole
there
lot.
is some. Yeah.
It's gonna happen when it happens. And there's a story that's on the news. There was a 22-year-old girl here in Utah for a music festival, and they canceled the music festival because of the wind and the rain and all of that stuff. Well, as she was leaving this music festival, she was going to get into her car, and the wind blew a big piece of debris up against the back of her head, and she ended up passing away.
Isn't that
So it's
incredible?
just, she doesn't even live in this
Just
state.
a freak.
Yeah, just this weird, strange thing that
Accident.
happens. And
Yeah.
when you're on the outside and you're not connected to something like that, for me, it's easy to go, oh, wow, that was her time.
Yeah.
But then I think about myself, or I think about my children, or I think about anybody that's close to me and
Yeah.
something like that happening. I would not be able to be like, oh, that was their time.
Yeah.
Right. It's more when you're emotionally connected to something like that. But when you're on the outside and you're not emotionally connected to it, it's almost clear
Yeah.
that you can look at something like that and go, oh man, that really, she was 22 years old, way too young. That
But
was
completely unpreventable and
right.
completely just I I heard a similar story a few years ago of somebody who was killed by a giant umbrella, like a beach umbrella. But the wind picked up and it like stabbed them. Like it went, I mean, just a freak, like, and honestly, when I see a like wind picking up and there are umbrellas around or anything like that,
You're
I
like,
start to
oh.
feel a little anxiety. Yeah, I'm like, no. I don't want to be one stabbed by an umbrella. I don't want that to be
I'm
my
gonna
way to
avoid
go.
that.
So yeah, you do your best to prevent what you can, but honestly, you could never have just like walked around being like, I'm going to prevent everything that could possibly happen to me or a loved one. And I think that, yeah, at some level, when you watch mediums giving messages to their loved ones and saying, no matter what the circumstance was around their death, they're like, you couldn't have prevented this. Don't walk around with survivor's guilt. Don't live your life like that, because it is
There's
what it
nothing you could
is.
have
Like, there's
done.
nothing anyone could have done. It was the time that was meant to happen, and no one knows why. And that's not something we can answer. And don't live your life like questioning and stewing over, like, why did this happen? Why? Because I don't think that the deceased, the passed on, would have wanted anybody to sit there and stew over that.
Right.
That's how I see it. But
Right.
speaking of anxiety, we're going to talk about our crystal today.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Plume Agate.
Yeah.
The Plume Agate, this specific Plume Agate comes out of India. The description that I have for is Plume Agate aids in promoting balance, energy, and harmony. It's also thought to enhance analytical thinking, decision making, and memory, while also supporting mental health by reducing anxiety and promoting peace and emotional healing.
I just think it's so funny the direction our conversation has gone today. And I knew we were talking about this crystal, but I was like, I don't know how that's going to come up. It's just interesting. We ended up talking about more anxiety than fear, I think.
I think they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Like, what is it that fear is bringing up? Like, what are you afraid is going to happen or what you can't control?
They feed each other, and not in a good way, not in a healthy way, right? When you're feeling anxious,
this one's cool.
Well, at least when I feel anxious, I feel like fear is there constantly. It's like, you need to be afraid of this happening. You need to be afraid of that happening. If you don't do this, then that's going to happen. If you do this, then that's going to happen. There's no there's no positivity in there. It's just like a constant feeding of fear and anxiety. They just like, they feed each other back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So the trick is being able to step back and watching that fear and anxiety feed each other, and go, all right, you guys do your thing over there. Go over there and do it. I don't want to be part of this. I'm not going to mediate. I'm not going to feed into it too. I want to step over here, and I want to look at something a little lighter, a little less heavy, a little more hopeful.
Yeah.
But the skill of being able to do that. Yeah.
Support that.
And the vibration of this crystal will, if you hold it and you focus on removing that energy and stepping away from that energy, it's going to help support that. So whether you do that during meditation, whether you do that whenever it feels right to you, having the crystal close by, holding on to it, whatever shape you like, it's just very, very supportive.
I was surprised to see too that all the chakras are connected to this one. This one doesn't have a specific, it's kind of overall balancing which makes sense.
Yeah.
Grounding all the way up to connection,
right,
to higher power would be straight down the line, get all that flow open. It's amazing with our conversation today how much I'm realizing fear or anxiety being connected to not being able to control. That when we feel like something is out of our control, or we feel like there's nothing we can do about a certain thing. So if the serenity prayer, and again, I feel like words can be spells, they can be worship, or they can be prayer. So like it all works out. It will work out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end. That could be a spell. Words being a part of the creation of a spell or a ritual, but also like the serenity prayer, in that I'm going to, know the difference between things that I can control and things that I can't control. And just have that. I feel like there is an infinite amount of power and control when we realize we have that of ourselves and how we feel. Because we can't control all the circumstances and people around us. But if we have a lot of control over how we perceive it, how we what reality we want to live in. That is so powerful when you think about it.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, it's kind of like what we've been talking about is letting go of the control, but then also understanding that you can have some control over the way that you react and the way that you perceive and the way that you move forward in what's going on around you. So control is a tricky word because it feels like control. I've got to do everything around me needs to fall into this certain way. But it's really like if you remove all of the outer aspects of what's happening and you control you. You control your reaction, you control your fear, you control your anxiety, you control your hope, your joy, all of those things, then it like spills over, right? And it kind of pushes that away and gives you the peace that you need. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of all just comes together.
Yeah. So have a lot of compassion for people who are, you see someone and you're like, they're a control freak or they're an anxious person. Just ask yourself, what part of their lives have they not felt safe? Right. And then instead of feeling judgment about that, you can feel compassion for them because you can be like, man, they must have had some really difficult things they've had to go through to get to a point where they're seeking that safety. That's all they're doing is seeking safety. So, you can feel a little compassion for them because I can be a little bit of a control freak.
Yes.
Have compassion for me. I'm just working through my traumas like all of us are. Well, find this Plume Agate at Rising Moon Minerals. So you can go to the website,
risingmoonminerals.com. You can shop here in the store. We're in Riverton, Utah, Mountain View Village, right by the entrance to the Cinemark Theater. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm all the places. Find me and let's talk.
Order yourself some good support kit to get through your fearful things that you're having to deal with right now. And if you're in it like we've been lately, hopefully we're here to be there with you and say that's absolutely normal. We all go through that, and it's made you feel like there's a way out. There's always a way out. There's always a way through. And you can find me at Prism Healing, prism-healing.com. So if you're interested in a private session with me to help work through some of that energetic blocks and inner child work, that's what I specialize in and love to do, obviously. My favorite thing. I'll be doing some healing through art workshops that I'm going to do, I think, month to month for a little while. So look for my November schedule because I'm going to offer those virtually and in person. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, my live TikToks every Monday, which are a blast and kind of funny. And don't get on there and ask me if you're pregnant. Just don't.
Take a pregnancy test.
Take a pregnancy test, please.
Go to the doctor. Do something.
And thanks to our sponsor, Sunshine Community, local community here of women supporting women in business. And thank you to our producers at Ride the Wave Media for producing our podcast and letting us do this, because really we just get to come and hang out and have conversations that we would probably have normally. We're just recording it.
And hopefully putting it out there so that it can help others.
I hope so. Yeah. So if it's helped you, please message us and let us know what questions you have, or just pop in and say hi. We'd just like to know you're listening. So you can do that on any of our social media. We also have practically_magick_podcast on Instagram is our Instagram handle. So you can go follow us there and see clips and shoot us a message, or go to practically-magick.com, and there is a place where you can go and submit questions or comments on the website. So we'll see you there, and go make magic, witches and wizards. See you next week.